Good morning, class 4-3. Mr. Waterman here with today's language arts lesson in period 4 on Friday, February 19th, 2021. I hope you all have had a great day studying so far. We are ready to start the next story, which will probably be the last story we focus on for the school year as we go into the end of February next week, and in March we only have a few weeks of school. This is one of my favorite stories from this book. I hope you will enjoy it as much as I do. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a little bit of background. We are on page 324. Most of you have already seen the link, which is the PDF for the entire story, which you can download and print off. Okay? Page 324, background and vocabulary. So the title for the next story is Big Bushy Mustache. Okay? Here are some of the vocabulary words we are going to be working with. Please say each word after me. Bushy. Bushy. Costume. Costume. Disguise. Disguise. Handsome. Handsome. Mirror. Mirror. Mustache. Mustache. Before we begin the story, let's read about costume and disguises. In the next story, a class is planning to put on a play. Actors and actresses in a play dress up to look like different characters. This actor is dressed up to look like a handsome prince. The cape is part of his costume. Many of you know costumes from Halloween. Some of you have dressed up in costumes on Halloween before. A mustache, which is what this is, and bushy wig can be a good disguise. So when you put on a disguise, you don't want anyone to know who you are or what you really look like. You're hiding yourself. An actress checks her makeup in a mirror so she can see her reflection and she can put the makeup on correctly. Big Bushy Mustache by Gary Soto and illustrated by Joe Cepeda. Look at the strategy focus. Problems start when Ricky gets a part in a school play. As you read, try to predict how the problems will be solved. Now, before we start, I want you to go back and look at this picture of Ricky and his father. Ricky's father has a big bushy mustache, and Ricky also has a big bushy mustache. Do you think Ricky looks like his father? I think so. Do you think Ricky is happy to have this big bushy mustache like his father? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's begin reading. People always said Ricky looked just like his mother. He has beautiful eyes, exactly like yours, Rosa, said Mrs. Sanchez, the crossing guard, as his mother took him to school one morning. Thanks, Ricky's mother shouted and turned a big smile on him. Have a good day, mijo. Then she gave him a kiss. The word mijo means son in Spanish. Ricky went into school frowning. He was a boy. Why didn't people say he looked like his father? That morning, his teacher, Mrs. Cortez, brought out a large box from the closet and set it on her desk. She took out a hat and a serape. This is a serape here. Okay. It's a wrap. She took out a sword and raised it toward the ceiling. Class, for our next unit, we're going to do a play about Cinco de Mayo. That's a holiday that celebrates the Mexican victory over the French army. Cinco de Mayo means 5th of May. Mrs. Cortez looked around the room. Her eyes settled on Ricky. Ricky, do you want to carry the sword? Ricky shook his head no. Ricky doesn't look very happy, does he? Let's find out why. Do you want to wear this white shirt? She asked. Again, Ricky shook his head no. And he shook his head no to the sombrero. Sombrero is a type of hat. The captain's hat, the purple cape, the tiny Mexican flag. Ricky wanted none of it. Oh boy, Ricky's being difficult. But when Mrs. Cortez took out a big bushy mustache, something clicked. This time, Ricky nodded yes. For the rest of the day, the class practiced their parts. Some of the children played Mexican soldiers. Some of the children played French soldiers. All the while, Ricky played with his mustache. It tickled his lip. It made him feel tough. These are some cool costumes the children are wearing. What do you think, class? When school was over, Mrs. Cortez told the class to leave the costumes in their desks. Ricky took off his mustache, but instead of leaving it behind, he put it in his pocket. He wanted to take it home. He wanted to surprise his father when he got home from work. Maybe Mommy will take a picture of us, he thought. We could stand next to each other in front of our new car. Uh-oh. Ricky's not listening to his teacher, is he? What do you think is going to happen, class? Let's continue reading to find out. After Ricky left the school, he pressed the mustache back onto his lip. He felt grown up. A man on the street called out, "Hello, soldier." Ricky passed a woman carrying groceries. She said, "What a handsome young man." He passed a kindergartner who said, "Mister, would you help me tie my shoes?" Wow, Ricky's getting a lot of attention. Is this good or bad? Ricky laughed and ran home. He climbed the wooden steps pushed open the door and rushed into the kitchen where his mother was peeling apples. Wait a minute, class. We can see Ricky's mustache here. Can we see it in this picture? Uh-oh. Hola, Mommy, he said. I'm hungry. Hola means hello in Spanish. Mommy, as you probably have figured, means mother or mom. He looked up and waited for her to say something about his big bushy mustache. But she only smiled and handed him a slice of apple. What happened to his mustache? Mijo, wash your hands and help me with the apples, she said. Ricky's smile disappeared. Didn't she notice? Look, Mommy, is it my bigote? Great, he said, tugging at her apron. Bigote means mustache. His mother looked at him. Bigote? What are you talking about? This one, he said. He touched his lip, but the mustache was gone. He felt around his face. It was not on his cheek. It was not on his chin. He looked down to the floor, but it wasn't there either. This is bad. I must have lost it on the way home, Ricky thought. Without saying anything, he ran out the front door. He retraced his steps, eyes wide open. He dug through a pile of raked leaves. He parted the tall grass that grew along a fence. He looked in the street, between parked cars, and in flower beds. Poor Ricky. He jumped with hope when he saw a black thing, but when he bent over to pick it up, he discovered that it was a squashed crayon. Ricky sat on the curb and cried. The mustache was gone. Oh, let's turn the page. When he got home, Ricky told his mother what had happened. She wiped her hands on a dish towel and hugged him. Poor Ricky. But do you think Ricky should have listened to his teacher and followed directions? At dinner, he wanted to tell Poppy too, but the words would not come out. They were stuck in his throat. He watched his father's big, bushy mustache move up and down when he chewed. Under his breath, Ricky whispered, "Mustache." But his father didn't hear. He talked about his work. After dinner, Ricky went to his bedroom. With a black crayon, he colored a sheet of paper and then cut it into the shape of a mustache. He taped it to his mouth and stood before the mirror. But it didn't look real. He tore it off, crumpled it, and tossed it on the floor. In the closet, Ricky found a can of black shoe polish. He looked in the mirror and smeared a line above his lip, but it was too flat, not thick and bushy at all. Finally, he dug out a pair of old shoes. The strings were black. He cut them in short strips and bound them together with a rubber band. He held the creation above his lip. It looked like a black mop, and smelled like old socks. That night, after he put on his pajamas, Ricky went into the living room, where his father was listening to the radio. "Papi, I lost my mustache, mi bigote." His father laughed. "What mustache?" Ricky climbed into his father's lap and told him everything. His father smiled and told him a story about a hen that tried to become a swan. It was a good story, but it still didn't solve his problem. Tomorrow, he would have to face Mrs. Cortez. And you know, when he tells Mrs. Cortez what happened, do you think Mrs. Cortez is going to be happy? I don't think so. How is Ricky going to get out of this? The next morning, Ricky got out of bed slowly. He dressed slowly. He combed his hair slowly. At breakfast, he chewed his cereal slowly. He raised his eyes slowly when his father came into the kitchen. Ricky's doing everything slowly because he doesn't want to go to school. "Buenos dias." Good morning, he greeted Ricky. Then Ricky's mother came into the kitchen. "Mijo, I have a surprise for you," she said. What do you think the surprise is going to be? And why can't we see Ricky's father's face? Let's find out. Mommy held out a closed fist and let it open like a flower. Sitting in her palm was a mustache. It was big and bushy. "You found it," Ricky shouted happily. "Well, yes and no," Mommy said as she poured herself a cup of coffee. Where did this mustache come from? Ricky pressed the new mustache to his lip. He ate his cereal, and the mustache moved up and down, just like his father's. Look at that. Look at Ricky's father's face. But something was different about his father's smile. His lip looked funny. Ricky jumped up and threw his arms around Papi's neck. "Gracias, Papi." "Thank you," he cried. Gracias means thank you. "That's okay," Papi told him. "But next time, listen to your teacher. Listen to your teacher." That's a lesson all of you students can learn, correct? Then Papi touched his son's hair softly. "And hey, now I look just like you." Ricky grinned a mile wide. That's right. Papi looks just like Ricky now with no mustache. When Ricky walked to school, he carried the mustache not on his lip, but safely in his pocket. It wasn't just a bushy disguise anymore, but a gift from his Papi. The end. What a beautiful, beautiful story. Now, what I would like for you to do in the contact form is I would like you to tell me if you like this story and tell me why or why not. Tell me why you think this story was so important. What does it mean to you? If you have any questions, please email Mr. Waterman. That's it for today's lesson in Period 4. I hope you have a wonderful day studying, a wonderful weekend, stay safe and healthy, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Bye-bye for now.